just how iconic is a booster pack of Iconic Masters. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. If everything has worked out properly, I am welcoming you to the world premiere of this episode, because apparently there's this new thing on YouTube called premiering, where you can do like a live stream and have the episode come out at the same time. So that's what I'm trying with this one tonight. I don't know if it succeeded. If it succeeded, then right now I'm here and I'm also, I should be somewhere else on the screen. So if I'm here, you know what? I'm gonna raise a drink to myself. Cheers, buddy! You did it! Have a sip at this. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3. Hopefully that turned out to be an amazing live experience and I'm not just acting like a fool here for nothing. So let's dive in to today's Boosted Awareness episode. We're going to talk about Iconic Masters, all right? We are going to take a look at a booster pack of Iconic Masters and determine just how iconic it feels based on Wizards of the Coast's own metrics. Now, when they originally put out Iconic Masters, the advertising blurbs said the following: Iconic Masters features beloved Magic cards from throughout the game's history, including over 20 cards with brand new art, showing a mana drain. All right. Then they said iconic creatures, angels, sphinxes, demons, dragons, and hydras are waiting to be opened in Iconic Masters booster packs. All right. Then draft like a master. Iconic Masters has been designed for a power-packed and fun booster draft experience. Then Iconic Masters features beloved Magic cards from throughout the game's history. Build your collection with cards aimed at decks in several popular formats, including Legacy, Modern, and Commander. So that's the way that they market it to us. Now, Iconic Masters ended up being a massive financial disaster. The set flopped horrifically. Now, Wizards of the Coast turned around and apologized for it. And at the same time, they blamed us by going, "Oh, you just didn't understand. We just meant it was iconic creatures." They literally tried to say that, even though when you go through the blurbs, 1 blurb mentions the creatures, and 2 sell it on how you're getting cards that were iconic all the way through the history of Magic. I even said Iconic Masters and Masters 25 were just going to be 2 halves of one set that were split apart so they could be as greedy as possible. And that's exactly what they ended up doing. And guess what happened? It all went horribly. So now we're going to go ahead and pull apart a booster pack, look at it card by card, enjoy each card on its own, but also evaluate whether it actually feels like it lives up to the company's marketing and what the set was supposed to be. So without any further ado, let us hop into the booster pack and see how iconic it is. All right, my friends, time to find out how well this pack lives up to the hype, to the iconicness that we had talked about, what they were going for. Let's see if they can deliver. All right. So, starting out with Diminish. 1 blue instant. Target creature has base power and toughness 1/1 until end of turn. Everything seems a little less ferocious when it's running from a house cat. The flavor on this card is a lot of fun. This is a Baloth, which is normally a gigantic forest creature, and blue and green are enemy colors, so it's cool to see this sort of like interplay between the two. Oh, you have a giant beast? Now it's a tiny little 1/1, which is being batted by a cat. The only problem I have with that is that human beings are represented in the game as 1/1s, so it's like, okay, so this 1/1, which could take down a human, is just going to get batted around by that cat? Like, what's the cat stats? I guess maybe it's a 1/2 cat? I don't know. The flavor of it is fun, but when you start to break down the base numbers underneath. But in terms of iconicness, does this feel iconic or super powerful, like you're going to play in a powerhouse draft, or this is iconic of Magic? No, not at all. First card, absolute fail for that. Next, we've got Dragon Egg. Well, they did say, iconic creature, so dragon falls into that. 1 red, 2 colorless, defender, 0/2. When Dragon Egg dies, create a 2/2 red dragon creature token with flying. It has fire breathing, which means for every red you spend, it gets +1/+0. And dragon birth layers are littered with treasure to entice the young from their eggs. I enjoy the flavor text, but unfortunately it doesn't really tie very well into the concept. The concept is supposed to be like this egg gets smashed and the dragon ends up coming out, but the flavor text is saying, look, we're going to bribe our youths out. So that's okay. I mean, the idea behind it overall is cool, but the flavor doesn't tie together perfectly. The art is fantastic. The egg that's all heated and translucent, look, you can see the little wormling that's in there and the fires that are leaping up behind, but it's all shrouded in darkness, and you've got all these piles of coins around it with treasure and swords and all kinds of the remains of hapless adventurers as well. Like this is some really epic artwork, and it does touch on the iconic creature note. Now I do feel like that's one of the weaker selling points of the set, but it does technically fit it. So I'm going to put that over into the succeeds in being iconic pile. So we're 1 for 1 now. I guess we'll just total that up in the end instead of keeping score. So, Rot Feast or Maggot we have next. 1 black, 4 colors for a 3/5. When it enters the battlefield, exile target creature card from a graveyard. You gain life equal to that card's toughness. Is it at the top of the food chain or the bottom? So this is a gigantic insect maggot that feeds on corpses, essentially. That's what's going on here with this. That's some intense flavor. I mean, this is just... It looks like it lives in these gigantic subterranean tunnels, and just like the white, it's like it's never seen the sun. That's why it's got that like albino-y kind of skin to it. It's a pretty intense looking beast. I mean, just calling it if this is a maggot, then what does it grow into when it finishes? Like, what is it finally going to birth into? That's pretty crazy. Is it iconic? Not in the slightest. Not even close. Not even close. I mean, it's just, let's just move on. This doesn't feel powerful or iconic. Speaking of not feeling powerful or iconic, we've got Nantuko Shaman. 1 green, 2 colors for a 3/2. When he enters the battlefield, if you control no tapped lands, draw a card. That's a weird ability. Doesn't it make you wonder, wait, like, how am I supposed to get him out and draw that card? Well, that is using the suspend ability, which is pay 4 mana and suspend him with 1 counter on him. At the beginning of your upkeep, you remove that counter, and once you remove that counter, he comes into play for free and has haste. Now, he's not very good. The concept represents the time rifts from Time Spiral, and that's what the suspend is. He's literally coming through a time rift from another place, and that's why behind him it looks different than in front of him. I do enjoy the artwork and the way that it's done, but in terms of iconic, no. In terms of power, no. In terms of disappointing garbage, yes. Let's move on. Fury Charm. 1 red, 1 colorless, instant. Choose 1, destroy target artifact, target creature gets +1/+1 against trample till end of turn, or remove 2 time counters from target permanent or suspended card. So this, for example, could be used to cheat out the Nantuko Shaman faster by removing the time counters, which is what suspend uses, alright? So that's underwhelming, obviously, as a card. This is not a super exciting card. There's nothing iconic about it. The artwork's kind of funky. I don't know. This charm, it just looks like a marble on top of somebody's old metal necklace. It's just, it disappoints me. It's just like a cheesy Dragon Ball or something. Overall, disappointing. Not an amazing card. The dime just dropped on that one, boys. Just no good. Alright. Then we got Seeker of the Way. 1 white, 1 colorless for a 2/2 prowess. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Seeker of the Way gains lifelink until end of turn. I don't know where my destiny lies, but I know it isn't here. The artwork on this is absolutely gorgeous. Honestly, this monk, this human warrior who is wandering off, leaving his monasteries behind, and the monasteries look amazing up on those cliff tops there. That's incredible. I enjoy the old rope bridge that he's crossing, and you can see the age in it with how worn and frayed the ropes are, especially the one that's snapped there. But he's confidently striding off into the unknown, looking for something. I like that. The flavor behind this card is really cool. In terms of it being iconic, no, it's not iconic. I mean, sure, people may have played it when it came around in like the Cons block, but I'm sorry, this is not iconic Magic. But in terms of power, it's a half decent power level, so at least you got that. This guy would not be terribly disappointing to be playing with in a draft. Alright. Phantom Tiger. 1 green, 2 colorless for a 1/0 that comes into play with 2 +1/+1 counters on it, so really it's a 3/2. If damage would be dealt to Phantom Tiger, prevent that damage, remove a +1/+1 counter from Phantom Tiger. They did a number of these Phantom creatures, And the Phantom Centaur is my favorite in terms of power levels. But man, this Phantom Tigress artwork is absolutely gorgeous. This actually feels like a cat spirit. Look, that does not feel like an earthly being. It's just got this glowy sort of transcendent effect to it. I love it. This is the kind of thing you would love to have wandering through your garden and like spot off in the distance. If you had a giant garden, obviously, you wouldn't want to see this thing up close. It's pretty scary. I like the flavor behind it too. It's like you can't completely just destroy it. You've got to remove a counter at a time. So that's it's an interesting card. In terms of being iconic, doesn't feel iconic, doesn't feel insanely powerful either. So I'm gonna put that in the fail pile as well. Moving on to Guardian Idol. 2 colorless artifact. It enters the battlefield tapped. Tap it to add a colorless to your mana pool. Pay 2 colorless. It becomes a 2/2 golem artifact creature until end of turn. Conceptually, very cool. I mean, this is fantasy flavor. Gigantic statues that are all actual magical and animated and will come to life and defend against intruders and stuff like that is totally magical and very, very cool. And this guy looks massively imposing. I gotta be honest, this Guardian Idol looks towering and huge and a lot bigger than 2/2 to me. This feels like a 6/6, really. I mean, it's epic. The sword, the pose, everything. The gigantic head they gave it, it just gives this sense of power and intimidation. I definitely enjoy it. Iconic? No. In terms of power level, not too shabby. I mean, I would definitely run this in a draft. It's acceleration and a body. So, you know what? I'll give it a pass in that regard. Heat Ray. 1 red X. Heat Ray deals X damage to our creature. Woo! Feels real iconic. There was clearly a scream. I'm not sure if there was a mouth. And there's some random Eldrazi getting hit with a Heat Ray. Whoopity-duppity-doo. This does not feel iconic at all. The artwork's pretty intense, though. It's just like you've got that crazy, cracked, orangish red earth, and you've got the Eldrazi, who's kind of orangish in the middle, but that might just be from being heated up, because his outer extremities are all blue. And he's pretty intense with the tentacles and everything, and that yellow background with the noxious miasma, kind of like, looks like it's just a poisonous fog lingering there, and you got the hedrons floating in the background. The artwork is pretty intense. But in terms of power, iconicness, and excitingness, this is a fail, boys. Disenchant. Alright, so 1 white, 1 colorless. Instant. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. The tools of evil are mere things, and like all things, they cannot last forever. Song of All, Canto 881. Disenchant is an iconic Magic card. This has been around since the very, very beginning of Magic, from when it had that weird artwork where it would look like a red magic missile that was about to destroy a plate with a peacock on it. So that was a bizarre piece of artwork. Disenchant is definitely iconic. This artwork is kind of wonked. Again, I don't know exactly what's being disenchanted here, and the way that I really enjoy the vivid blue and the contrast of the hand against it, but the energy that's flowing into the hand, like without it saying disenchant on it, you have absolutely no idea what's going on in this artwork. So that part for me is a bit of a fail. But I've always liked Disenchant, so I'm cool with this one. We'll put you in the iconic pile. Is it Boilerworks? Well, it's just a land, all right? Just enters the battlefield. So it's one of the bounce lands from Ravnica. You look in the back, and it sure looks like Boilerworks. You have all kinds of crazy contraptions going on. You got big metal hooks. You've got tubes with bubbling liquid going through them. Giant urns. All kinds of... Like, if you look up along the ever non-ending hallway there, it's got all these gigantic pots of what I assume are full of lava and such, all these different pots boiling, all kinds of contraptions for the Izzet. So, very flavorful artwork, but overall, it's just a land, not particularly iconic to me. Whoop-de-doo. Distortion Strike. Now, here's some power. Alright, 1 blue, sorcery. Target creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn, and can't be blocked this turn. And it's got Rebound, which means you get to cast it again the next turn for free automatically. Very solid card for 1 mana, because you're going to get to make a creature unblockable 2 times and give it a power boost. Very solid card. And the artwork is pretty interesting as well. You have this like dark vortex, basically, where this creature just goes through it. It's like, I'm going to get to this Eldrazi. I'm going to take a portal to get to it. And you can see the +1 power represented by like the blue glow around the assassin's hand. Oh no, wait, sorry, not an assassin. This is a knight, I suppose, with that giant sword. It's probably not an assassin, but either way, you can see the blue energy there around his fist, and to me that represents that +1 that comes along with it. You just boom, teleport in behind and right in with the sword. Powerful. I would say this one falls into that category there. So while it may not feel super iconic to me in terms of Magic, it's definitely on the power level to create some epic draft action. Stagger Shock, 1 red, 2 colorless, deals 2 damage to target creature player, and rebound, just like Distortion Strike, you get to cast it again. This spell is not too shabby. The artwork is amazing. I love this. This chick leaned forwards like this with both of her hands outstretched, each of them blasting out lightning. Actually, it looks like one's blasting out lightning, and the other is charging up, getting ready to do it for the next turn. That's a fun way of representing it in the artwork. The hand up here is the one that's blasting out the 2 damage this turn, and this hand down here would be the hand that's getting ready to fling out another blast lightning. I love, most of the artwork is really, really dark. The only light is coming from both of her hands and her eyes, and there's actually a little bit of lightning arcing out of her eyes as well, and it makes her look incredibly intense. She looks like an amazing Storm Shaman. This is some really, really nice artwork, and it feels like a really solid draft card as well. To me, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give this one a pass on the iconic. We don't want to be too rough here. And Yosei, the Morningstar, big fat legendary dragon, one of the 5 legendary dragons from Kamigawa. This is iconic. So at least the rare is iconic, both in creature and the legendary dragon cycle was a big thing when the Kamigawa block was out. So 2 white and 4 colors gets you a 5/5 flyer. When Yosei is taken off the board there, target player skips his or her next untap step, and you get to tap up to 5 permanents that player controls. So if they take out Yosei, you get to go, oh yeah, by the way, you're going to skip your untap phase, and I'm tapping down 5 permanents. He is amazing because he's a massive threat, and if they handle him, you still end up with amazing board position. And this artwork is incredible. I love it. He's the Morningstar, so you can see he's just got this crazy mane of light that runs all along the top and bottom, just along the outer length of his body. And he's right there. It looks like he's flying along at dawn, heralding the sun, perhaps even bringing it. And he's just got that crazy mane that looks like it's made out of fire and light, and those crazy horns that are all twisted up like a Corinne's horns. I really enjoy this artwork. It totally feels like a spirit dragon as opposed to a real world regular dragon. It doesn't have the dragon wings or anything. It just has that ribbonous style of body. Absolutely gorgeous artwork. Absolutely iconic to me. And what is the foil? Vizkopa Guildmage. Well, you are not iconic at all. 1 black, 1 colors for a 2/2. For a black, a colorless, and a white, you can either give a creature lifelink till end of turn, or whenever you gain life this turn, each opponent loses that much life. Those aren't shabby abilities, and I mean, that definitely feels Orzhov-y to me, but I mean, this is an underwhelming foil. It's not iconic. The artwork is pretty intense, though. This chick looks like she is not to be trifled with, even if her armor is a bit ridiculous and ostentatious with the gigantic, flailing metal hood piece that juts back out of her neck and the big jutting shoulder pieces. But either way, I like that hands outstretched with the ball of light that's blasting rays of light out. It looks really nice on the foiling here. I don't know if I can pick that up for you on the camera. Probably not very well, but it looks really nice. So we'll put that in the non-iconic pile. And then we've got a dragon token. And that's iconic. A 5/5 flying dragon feels iconic. He is definitely in this very animated pose where you can see he is accelerating past these volcanoes. He is moving at high speed from the twist of his body and the angle of his wings and tail and everything. I enjoy it. This is really, really just red in all its glory. Massive explosive volcanoes and a huge, powerful dragon just coming to end you. That's a great way to end the pack in terms of iconicness. So let's do a tally and see just how it broke down along the lines. Okay, so we've got, I think it might actually be a tie here. Yeah, okay, we're coming right down the middle with 8 cards that got qualified in the iconic pile and 8 cards that got qualified in the non-iconic pile. So we will toss it back over to me to make the final verdict. What's it gonna be? All right, well, I'm gonna go with the verdict of that pack was kind of iconic. I mean, it was 50-50 right down the line. I'll give it more iconic than less, I suppose, just because Yosai was in there. But overall, it didn't feel like this is epic and iconic. You have to remember, these are booster packs that they charge 3 times the regular price for and hype as something absolutely amazing. And that turns out not to be the case. It wasn't too shabby a pack, don't get me wrong. It was a nice journey. But overall, I'm going to have to say that from one booster pack, Iconic Masters feels at best kinda iconic. That being said, let's go on over to the 6th color of Magic.
Hello from Cyclozen's Bathtub, aka Tub Talks. Together, we are the 6th color of Magic.
Let's close out this grand premiere by rolling the Golden Scroll and offering up a couple of videos for you to go and check out. Now, I don't know how this is going to work if we're still in premiere mode or if you can watch a premiere afterwards, like a director's cut or I guess more like director's commentary. Anyways, we'll figure that all out. It's a new feature we just got access to today that not everyone gets to use yet. So let's have some fun with it. Hope it was a good time. Let me know what you think in the comments below, located near something. All right, bye. Hail to the king, baby.